It's 11:25. Some of the unsung heroes last night were the volunteer 4x4 responders from South East 4x4 Response. They're essentially a group of drivers who have 4x4s and who are happy to help the local police and emergency services around Kent in extreme snow conditions. Here's an email that's just come in. Just to mention that in Hawkinge, I was given a lift by a guy in a 4x4 after walking up White Horse Hill, having left the car on the slip road. This morning, I'm walking down to pick up a car. A young man is helping to push cars onto the main road. Well done to both who restore our faith in human nature. It's good when we reach out to other people, isn't it? They were really busy last night. Let's speak now to James Chalkley, Vice Chair of the South East 4x4 Response. James, you're not long home, are you?
I'm about 5 minutes home, actually. Yeah, I was going to say good morning or good night. I can't quite work out which is which. But
when did you start?
We started at just gone 7:30 last night. We had some snow coming down, and we had various weather reports coming in from Folkestone and Dover. So we pre-deployed teams to the area just in case they were needed, and it proved to be a very wise move.
Who were you helping? What sorts of state did people get themselves into?
Well, we initially got a call of a stranded ambulance that was blocking a road. And obviously, on the way down there, we were hampered by abandoned vehicles, abandoned lorries. Generally, when we come across people like that, it tends to be everything from commuters trying to get home to young families trying to get back to loved ones. And generally, people are frustrated. Very glad to see us, and it's great to hear some of the feedback that you guys have been getting about the work we've done.
How many of you were out last night, James?
We had just over 28 responders deployed. We had another 25, 30 responders on standby. As well as being out and about rescuing stranded motorists, we also had a search and rescue call out come out to us. So we had responders deploying to search and rescue. We had responders on standby with South East Ambulance Service. We had responders out assisting Kent Police and the Highways Agency, recovering stranded vehicles and also stranded motorists on the A2, the A20, the M20, and also the A249.
Do you, when you respond, and you've done this, this isn't the first time, you've been doing it a long time, do you ever feel angry or frustrated by the people who get themselves into a pickle by setting out on a journey they shouldn't have set out on? Or do you just think, look, we all do it, and are you sympathetic or cross with them sometimes?
That's a very difficult question to answer. Maybe a little bit of both. It was forecast for quite some time, and I honestly don't think there's any excuse for going out in a vehicle unprepared when there's snow coming down. A lot of motorists can help themselves by learning where their towing eye is on their vehicle. Quite a few motorists are very hands up and yes, we've made a mistake, we've got stuck. And quite a few, believe it or not, are angry at us as if it's our fault that they got stuck. But once they understand and learn that we're all voluntary, we're volunteers doing it out of the goodness of our own hearts, we generally get a much better response.
I think if somebody was angry with me doing the job you're doing, I might well leave them where they were, to be honest with you.
Well, unfortunately, we have to have very thick hides, and we don't like leaving people stranded regardless of the reception. So.
No, I guess not. How are conditions this morning then? How did you leave it?
We left the A2 at Lyd this morning, eventually managed to get underway about 9:30. The conditions down there are quite astounding. I've never seen weather quite like it. At one point we had 50-mile-an-hour winds driving snow up to depths of nearly 8 feet along the side of articulated lorries. Quite a lot of the side roads and country lanes that we were using to cut between the main roads had snow drifts of up to 3 to 4 feet on them. Very, very icy, incredibly icy. And if you're caught in an exposed area where the wind was, it was. I'd hate to work out what the wind chill factor was, but it was leaving the sides of the vehicle with 3 inches of ice along them. So it just gives you an idea of quite how bad it was.
Well, we did hear from one woman who said her friend was trying to walk home after the car broke down, didn't have a phone. I mean, obviously that's not sensible, but she said she just ended up collapsing in the road. I mean, it was that bad.
On that note, we got greeted on arrival at Lyddon. We got greeted by a woman who'd walked 3.5 miles in nothing but a jeans, t-shirt, and a coat, trainers on her feet. She was absolutely frozen, frozen to the point of being blue. If you are going to leave your vehicle at the side of the road, please, please, please make sure that you've got adequate clothing. I know people get frustrated with being sat at the side of the road for hours and not knowing what's going on. The emergency services are aware you're there. People are trying to get to you. Obviously, if the road is blocked, we can't get to you. If it's a dual carriageway, they can't get to you. The very last thing you need to be doing is leaving your car in the middle of the night with inadequate clothing and walking on your own in the dark.
James, there has been criticism, as there always is. Was enough done? Was enough grit put down in the right places? When you describe what the weather has been like, it doesn't sound like it would have made much difference what they did.
I have to defend KCC and the gritting teams. They've done a sterling job this winter. Anyone who's used the roads has seen more than enough grit down. Unfortunately, the weather conditions yesterday, we had a forecast of snow throughout most of the day, but it was expected at rush hour. Now, everything that fell during the day fell as snow and sleet. It washed most of the grit off the road. And obviously, as soon as it started snowing heavily and the gritters had to get out, the rush hour commute started. Because of abandoned vehicles, because of abandoned lorries, the gritters just simply couldn't get through. They have to get through traffic like everybody else. We were quite lucky in four-wheel drives. We were able to go across hard shoulders, grass banks, pretty much scrambling any which way but loose to get through the traffic. We passed many a stranded gritter last night, and unfortunately, they're trying to get through the traffic just like everybody else. So I think we have to cut them a bit of slack. They do a sterling job.
So do you, James. We're very proud of you. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And if I can just have a bit of a plug.
Go for it.
We're on Twitter. Our Twitter account is SE4x4R. We also have a community Snow Watch account. This is where people can report to us exactly what the road conditions are, and it also helps us to deploy responders to affected areas. That Twitter account is @KentCSW, and our website is southeast4x4response.org.uk.
James, thank you for being there for the people of Kent. You do an amazing job. James Chalkley is Vice Chair of the Southeast 4x4 Response.